Now on CoastTV News.
Short-term rental regulations up for debate again in Ocean City today. The council's decision that might surprise you. Battered by ice and wind, a look at what life is like for people on Smith Island right now.
The winds are picking up momentum for Wednesday, but then the cold is about to make a comeback.
And this just in, authorities now questioning someone in the search for Nancy Guthrie's mother after disturbing video surfaced earlier today.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Christina DeRobertis. Our top story tonight, short-term rental regulations in Ocean City. It's really been the hot topic of the year in town, and today the Ocean City Council tackled two new proposals. CoastTV reporter Kevin Zappe shows us what was decided.
After hours of debate,
people have spoken.
The council ultimately decided to do nothing, so rentals will stay as they are for now. The town was considering capping short-term rental licenses at 10% in residential areas and mobile home communities. That was shot down, something Ocean City realtor Terry Riley was happy to see.
I think one of your bundles of rights is to dispose of your property how you see fit, which means you can sell it. And it also tells you you can use the property as you see fit.
Another idea would have required rental properties to post signs in their yards. That was also struck down. Council members said they couldn't come to a clean decision and are struggling, so they are pressing pause. The mayor voiced his displeasure for this inaction, saying he thinks it's a mistake that Ocean City is not going to change anything. One idea that was floated for future discussion was having a stricter zero-tolerance policy for rentals who break rules. Riley says enforcing the rules already in place is the best approach.
We can protect our owners, our guests, and the people that want to be landlords. We can protect all those rights under the given rules that we have now.
Now, according to the Ocean City manager, since these two ordinances were essentially shot down during Tuesday's meeting, it won't be brought back up for discussion unless the council president asks for it. I'm Kevin Zappe in Ocean City, CoastTV News.
We are also continuing our coverage on the resignation of Ocean City Council member Tony DeLuca on Sunday. His resignation capping off a turbulent week at City Hall after a special meeting last week where council members discussed whether or not DeLuca met the town's residency requirements to serve on the council. But a motion to remove him never advanced. Now his seat is vacant, and the next step is a special election to fill that seat.
The town has a board of elections. That board needs to meet and determine when they will be able to hold the special election. Once that date is determined, then everything sort of goes back from there.
Yep, so now town leaders will have to set a date for the special election, and we will keep you updated once that's decided. We're going to stay in Maryland for a minute now. Over on the Bay side, the weather not been so kind to Smith Island recently. Ice chunks still surround the island in Chesapeake Bay, and high winds have actually snapped an electrical wire there, keeping power from coming from the mainland. Officials say this happened over the weekend, so for the last couple of days, the island has been running off generators. Luckily, islanders tell us the generators are working well so far, but some are conserving energy just to be safe.
We conserve power pretty much. We have to have heat, but I keep house at about 65 degrees.
Cutting back your heat if possible, and trying to do all your laundry sporadically, and just drawing water, whatever makes it necessary.
Fuel for those generators have been coming in on barges escorted by the icebreaker. Maryland DNR says one came in yesterday, and they're hoping to send another one out on Thursday or Friday. Let's take a live look now outside into Lewis and turn it over to our First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams for some more on this freezing weather. Paul, is it going to get any warmer?
Well, yes. But we're going to have at least one more mild day for us for Wednesday. So Wednesday is going to be a normal day, if not a skosh above the norm for this time of the year. Then we're going to dip down for a couple more days before we warm up just in time for Valentine's Day. So Ocean City, we're at 36 degrees right now. Dew point temperatures at 35, so moisture contents have actually enhanced a bit right now in Ocean City, particularly at our dry tech camera site. But we're going to have temperatures staying in the lower 40s to upper 30s. Now, we have a small craft advisory that's active for Slaughter Beach, Broadkill Beach, and Lewis Beach. watching out for 25-mile-per-hour winds. Now, that's also a concern for us from Rehoboth Beach all the way down towards Fenwick Island and along Highway 1 throughout Sussex County, and it stops just shy of Ocean City. And on the other side, we have it for the Chesapeake Bay area. So it's starting to become breezy, and that windiness kicks in for us for Wednesday. Now, we'll talk about the temperatures popping up and down for the next few days as well. But for right now, back to you, Christina.
Thank you, Paul. And it might not feel like summer right now, but summer is coming, and that means parking in Rehoboth Beach will get much more difficult. The meters will be back in action, but this week, city leaders floating the idea of changing how the meters operate, making parking cheaper on the slower weekdays, so Tuesday through Thursday. Rehoboth's assistant city manager says it is possible, but it would take some time to set that up.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who live in Lewis and Millsboro and Milton, and they just don't come here in the summer. You have to go early in the morning, or else you can't, and even going to church. We have a lot of people who don't come down to church anymore if you have to pay after 10 o'clock in the morning.
This concept has been talked about for more than a year, but commissioners say it probably won't happen this summer, maybe next year. This does bring us to our CoastTV poll, though. We're asking you what you think is the biggest parking problem in Rehoboth. Let's take a look here. We have an error, but it looks like 37% say high cost is the biggest problem. 61% say limited spaces. Thank you for your answers, and you can still vote. Just go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. Now to Lewis, the Moorings development, what you see on your screen. It's a retirement community on Gills Neck Road. It has cottages and apartments. The community wants to expand by building more than 60 units, but in order to do that, 8 homes must be demolished first. So those plans are causing a lot of debate in the city. Today, a public hearing in Sussex County with 3 people speaking in favor of the expansion, 4 people speaking against it. Brandon Ferguson spoke to someone who is now in a new apartment after moving out of her cottage home there.
Sherry Chappelle has lived in the Mooring community for over 6 years. She was previously in a cottage home.
It wasn't a move I would have chosen, but I'm basically happy with it.
Although Chappelle is happy now in her new unit, when she first learned of these plans, it was quite the opposite.
My first reaction was, oh no, because for me, that cottage was intended to be my last move.
Right now, the Moorings community has 212 units. Plans call for 64 more units. The Moorings say they have a 12 to 18-month wait list for people who want to live here and say this expansion will provide much-needed senior housing.
I'm happy. There were some definite advantages for me personally for the move.
A community representative says the Moorings community are covering all moving expenses during this process, and that 5 of the 8 families in the cottage homes have already fully moved out.
That was Brandon Ferguson reporting in. Sussex County Council deferred a decision on this today. They'll keep the record open for 5 business days. Making national headlines tonight, explosive new details on day 10 of the search for missing 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. Pima County Sheriff's deputies and the FBI have now detained a person for questioning in the case based on investigative leads. A law enforcement official familiar with the investigation said tonight. The official stressing, though, that the person has not been charged. As Sherelle Hubbard shows us, we are also finally getting a glimpse of what Nancy Guthrie's alleged attacker may look like after the FBI released new video.
10 days into the search for Nancy Guthrie, and new details are emerging. Guthrie's purported kidnappers demanded $6 million in Bitcoin by 5 p.m. Monday in apparent ransom notes sent to TMZ and other media outlets. TMZ reporting that they've been monitoring the Bitcoin account and spotted a change Tuesday evening.
All I can say is there is now activity in that Bitcoin account.
And the FBI is releasing new video of a masked person who appears to have tampered with Guthrie's doorbell camera. At one point in the video, the person obstructs the camera's view with a plant. Authorities have said the camera was disconnected just before 2 a.m. on February 1st, the day she was reported missing.
You can see what appears to be a mustache for the individual, some hair under the lip, which means he might or might not have a full beard.
It shows an individual wearing gloves, a ski mask, and a backpack. The person appears to be armed, which law enforcement experts say may reveal important information about the perpetrator.
He's obviously not familiar with guns or the use of guns or the deployment of guns.
The FBI has released a new missing person poster for Nancy Guthrie that includes the surveillance images. Shortly after the FBI released them, Guthrie's daughter, Savannah Guthrie, shared the poster and the video on her Instagram account. She posted, quote, "Someone out there recognizes this person. We believe she's still out there. Bring her home." I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
And we are just getting started. Up ahead on Coast TV News at 11, more sports complex funding. What's going to Kent County? But first, Paul Williams with the weather. He's tracking your forecast in the First Alert Weather Center right now.
Well, one more normal day, normal, good old-fashioned normal winter day we'll get a chance to enjoy before we go back into the basement, these crazy lows and wind chill factors near the teens and all that kind of stuff. So let's enjoy it while we have access to it. 42 degrees right now, Rehoboth Beach. 34 for the dew point temperature, so not much in the way of moisture, not so much in Rehoboth Beach as moisture, as much moisture we have hovering throughout portions of Ocean City. But now what we have for everybody pretty universally is a great deal of winds primarily pushing out of the northwest, so much so that we have a small craft advisory. Now, let's take this seriously because with the winds coming out of the northwest, this is going to be a very cutting, uncomfortable wind. Although the temperatures will be elevated, it's going to be like 6 in one hand, half a dozen in another, okay? Because we'll have higher temperatures but more cutting winds as a result of that. But overnight lows are at least what we call cooperative. We're talking about temperatures in the 40s, 41 in Lewis and Rehoboth, for example, and even warmer as you go a bit farther inland with 44 in Seaford, Georgetown, and Millsboro. We have just a small touch of precipitation in the early morning hours. It's a sprinkle. If you don't take a picture of it as soon as it hits, you'll miss it altogether. But by the afternoon, you see all these arrows that are coming out of the northwest. That's symbolic of the winds that's pushing in that direction. And we'll notice the temperatures getting a little bit better. Actually, the latest run is indicating 48, near 50 degrees in Millsboro. No, it might be a mild day overall. Clouds build up for Thursday afternoon. 36, still the winds coming out of the northwest. But see, by Thursday, we won't have the luxury of the temperatures climbing to near 50 degrees. A lot cooler and less comfortable. And then take a look at how these winds will pick up momentum. 10:30 mid-morning, 29 mile per hour winds, and then boom, we're at 33, 31, 25, a lot of areas by the afternoon. And then for Thursday, we get to near 40, like 37, 36, in those areas. So don't be surprised if we get an occasional gust up to 40 as a result of that. The temperatures have been trending low for a while. Now, on this map, in case you've never seen it before, when you see the blue, that means that it's below the norm for this time of the year. And so as you see, we've been riding the blue side of this thing for a while. And the darker the blue, the more severe or the more dramatic we are, or the further we are from the actual norm. So we've been in the deep blue situation for a while. And take a look at Friday morning, 12 degrees. Pretty much universal all over the place. So we're not done with the uncomfortable cold just yet. But one other thing, Sunday by 7 o'clock in the evening, we'll have an area of rain. The low pressure system is going to be in the midst of a pocket of air that's going to be just above freezing, and it's going to swing so far away, according to our Euro model, that's going to take that chance of rain out of the way. And as far as ice or snow is concerned, it looks like not a good deal. So that's off the table for right now. So recapping what we're expecting for tonight. 33, partly cloudy skies and normal chill, winds northwest 5 to 11. Tomorrow, above normal but breezy, 45 generally for everybody, 48 in some areas, particularly inland. And then Thursday, we're zapped back to the chill because the chill sneaks back in by Thursday with a high of only 37 degrees and the winds coming out of the north and the northwest. It's 7 to 14. Here's a look at your extended forecast. Now, the good news is by the time we get to, let's say, Saturday, we're going to have more sunshine and we're back to the norm of 47. And then we'll peak at 49 on Sunday before another round of rain kicks in Monday.
Nice. Okay, thank you, Paul. Well, sports in Delaware are scoring big, literally. 7 complexes across the state are sharing $10 million from the Delaware Tourism Office's Sports Tourism Capital Investment Fund. That's to grow sports and tourism and attract out-of-state visitors. One of the biggest winners is the DE Turf Complex. That's near Frederica. It's receiving $4.15 million for a new field and a dome. Officials say the funding will have a major impact on the local economy beyond sports.
Only way we can do this is a fund like that, right? To do these, get a dome, add more fields, bring people in. And we want to continue to do that. We want to continue to be the leader in the country to operate sports facilities, and that brings economic impact.
So the funding is spread across all 3 Delaware counties and includes projects such as upgrades to turf, courts, seating, parking, and more, helping communities benefit both on and off the field. The Olympics are in full swing, airing only here on Coast TV, and we're going to take a look now at the medal count so far. It looks like Norway in the lead with 6 gold, 2 silver, 4 bronze, so 12 total. Italy has 2 gold, 2 silver, 7 bronze, so 11 total. Japan has 2 gold, 2 silver, 4 bronze. They've got 8 total in Japan. And don't forget, the Winter Olympics are running through February 22nd. That's only here on Coast TV. And a quick programming note for you. Due to the Winter Olympics, from February 9th until the 20th, you can catch Jeopardy on our sister station, Fox 21. It's at its regular time, 7:30 p.m. Same show, same time, just a different channel while the Winter Games are on. Coming up after the break, a high-stakes hearing. Immigration leaders facing scrutiny on Capitol Hill as a funding deadline looms. But first, why Comico County pushing back as a newly approved ICE agreement could be at risk.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
Why Comico County leaders are exploring all options to keep a newly approved agreement with ICE intact. For starters, County Executive Julie Giordano is asking Maryland Governor Wes Moore to veto legislation that would ban the agreements statewide. Now the governor has said he plans to sign the bill into law, and that could happen as early as this week. At a press conference, Giordano called the efforts in Annapolis, quote, short-sighted, and says the bill will not make Maryland safer.
Entering into the 287G agreement changes that reality. It gives us lawful, controlled, and a responsible way to work with federal authorities to ensure that those individuals that pose serious threats are properly identified and vetted while they are already in our custody.
In a statement today, Governor Moore says his administration is focused on public safety, but he went on to say that does not mean, quote, deputizing the people who are keeping people safe to go perform functions by a rogue ICE agency, end quote. Meanwhile, the head of the agencies carrying out President Trump's immigration enforcement appearing before lawmakers today. The hearing happened amid heightened calls for oversight at the Department of Homeland Security. And as Michael Yoshida reports, all while lawmakers debate potential changes to the DHS ahead of a funding deadline on Friday.
Top immigration officials on Capitol Hill.
We sit here today at an inflection point.
Trump's mass deportation campaign has faced a heavy wave of scrutiny following the shooting deaths of 2 U.S. citizens in Minneapolis by federal agents. Questions also raised about the violation of constitutional rights.
DHS personnel are now forcing their way into private homes without a judicial warrant in violation of the Fourth Amendment.
Transparency and communication are needed now more than ever. The department's no-fail mission hangs in the balance.
Officials not commenting about ongoing investigations into officer actions, but did defend their missions and agents.
You won't see ICE agents rolling through the parking lots and just snatching someone up. ICE does intelligence-driven, targeted enforcement operations.
CBP has spent the last year rebuilding what was an intentionally broken border.
Lawmakers pressed on officers wearing body cameras, as well as the training they receive amidst a hiring surge.
If you hired somebody for ICE today, how much training would they receive before they become a full-time agent?
So for a person off the street who has never been a law enforcement officer, they're looking at approximately 3 months of training, sir.
Today's hearing happening as Democrats and Republicans try to reach a deal on potential reforms to the Department of Homeland Security. They have until Friday to pass a bill to fund DHS or face a shutdown that would impact agencies like TSA and FEMA. In Washington, Michael Yoshida reporting.
Coming up in sports, if you want to get your child into sports, how to have them give it a try before you fully commit. Find out what that means with the Delmarva Sports Network in just a bit. And coming up, tech on trial, why Meta and YouTube are facing a first-of-its-kind lawsuit. David Ellison ramping up his bid to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery. Now Paramount says it will pay Warner Brothers shareholders $650 million for each quarter that its deal with Netflix is not closed. That offer would start next year. Paramount is also offering to pay Warner Brothers $2.8 billion termination fee for canceling its deal with Netflix. Shareholders will get the final word, though. They are expected to hold a special meeting in late March or early April. A landmark case against two of tech's titans. It could have major implications for social media and pending lawsuits. Attorneys for the plaintiffs in this historic first trial arguing that Meta and YouTube created platforms that are addictive and harmed their clients' mental health. Brian Abel reports on the stakes of the trial and how the tech companies are pushing back.
A historic trial and a first major test of whether social media companies can be held accountable for claims that their platforms harm the mental health of young users.
Psychologists have said consistently for decades that the younger a child is, the more vulnerable they are to any stressor.
The case centers around now 20-year-old Kaylee, who accuses Meta and YouTube of intentionally developing addictive platforms that cause her anxiety, body dysmorphia, and suicidal thoughts after she started using the platforms in early childhood. Her lawyer saying app features such as endless scrolling and the like button create instant dopamine hits that can lead to addiction, describing the swipe motion as the equivalent of a handle of a slot machine, saying every time she swipes, it's not for money, but for mental stimulation. YouTube and Meta have both denied the allegations in the lawsuit. Meta's attorney argued in opening statements that a difficult childhood, including reports she made to therapists of verbal abuse from her parents and bullying, led to issues, not social media use. For years, parents, health experts, and whistleblowers like Frances Haugen, formerly of Facebook, have called for more accountability and guardrails to protect young users.
For years, these companies have refused to take responsibility for any kind of harm. It makes perfect sense that the playbook would be to blame the victim.
The outcome of this trial could have major impacts, with around 1,500 similar lawsuits pending against social media companies. In Washington, Brian Abel reporting.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
What is up, Delmarva? Happy Tuesday. Here in Salisbury, kids are always being encouraged to try new things, and today local kids had a unique opportunity to do just that at the Wycomico County Parks and Rec Just Try It event.
Just Try It is a free event for kids aged 3 to 11, offering an opportunity to sample many different sports at one time to see what sports, if any, they actually enjoy. I remember personally growing up, my dad made me ask 3 times to try a sport before he'd let me try and play it, so consider this the speed run of that. Today's event featured baseball, softball, lacrosse, and golf. Parents say this is an opportunity to not only bring the community together, but also allow them to save a bit of money too. The event started 3 years ago, and according to event organizer Ryan McFadden, it's only gotten bigger since. Kids get a chance to see if they like a sport, and the parents don't have to financially commit to an entire season for something their child may not even end up liking. All in all, it's a huge win for the entire city of Salisbury.
We do this about 4 times a year, once per season, just to give parents a time to come out and try sports before the season starts so that they don't waste their money on a sport that the kid might say, hey, I want to play baseball, and then 2 weeks into the season, they're like, I don't want to play baseball.
I think this is actually great. Get them out of their phones, get them into something else.
This is awesome because this is their first exposure to several of these things. And again, you wouldn't really get the chance to do it unless you committed to a full season and paid for things. So this is great for them to just see what it's all about and maybe show a little more interest in one of them and give it a try.
That'll do it for sports. Thanks for watching and have a great night.
Check this out. Buddhist monks who have walked for more than 100 days with a message of peace have now reached Washington, D.C. They were expected to walk to the National Cathedral today, and they're planning to stop at the Lincoln Memorial tomorrow. The monks spoke to students at American University, encouraging them to slow down so they can find their own inner peace. The monks will finish their trek on Thursday in Maryland.
So let's take a look at Dover. We're at 42 degrees right now, dew point temperature of 30. Now we'll stay in the lower 40s for the rest of the night with partly to mostly cloudy skies for the rest of the evening time. Now we have a warm front that's pushing through, and we have small craft advisories active along the Atlantic side as well as along the other side of the Delmarva Peninsula, but much colder weather to our north. Our umbrella giveaway winner is Nancy Donnelly of Ocean Pines, Maryland. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line, sponsored by the law offices of Bruckstedt, Mandalis, and Federico. The number to call is 443-880-9100. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. A normal day for tomorrow. Then we cool back down Thursday, Friday, and we're back to above normal temperatures over the weekend.
Okay, thank you, Paul, and thanks to you for joining us for Coast TV News at 11. You can always find more news and local weather on our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show is up next, and we're back tomorrow at 5 a.m. Have a great night.